Tuesday, September 9th. I'm Adam Walsh, and this is The Signal. The grow season is winding down, folks, so let's talk about that. Let's talk putting gardens to bed, planning for next year, and a bunch of other stuff because it is gardening day, and the lines are open. And a little housekeeping announcement first. We've got a double up edition of Gardening Day today because next week we do not have a Gardening Day, and don't read into this or anything. It's just with multiple elections and everything else going on, I'm trying to fit in all of the content on the show for different topics. So I called the two great and understanding gardeners, Meghan McCarthy and Josh Elyk, who are here from the Memorial University Botanical Garden, and they both came in on the same day. How you doing?
Double trouble.
Double trouble's here. Thanks for coming in. How's the Botanical Garden?
Gosh, it's great. There's always something blooming. And our vegetable garden, we fenced it off from the hares this year, so it is looking lush. I love it in there.
All right, so the bunny battle.
The bunny battle, yes, temporarily winning.
Hey.
Yeah, they're going to come after me in my sleep. But
Yeah, I think probably.
Yeah.
They'll be in your fridge. You're like, how are you eating my carrots in the fridge as opposed to, come on.
Yeah.
And the watering, you're both probably sick of it by now. But
yeah, and the heat's finally broken a little bit, but it's still stress on the plants, and they're starting to come around. You can see the signs of stress going away and some of the newer growth and what have you. But yeah, definitely still seeing the effects of the heat that we had and the drought.
And the soil's still super hydrophobic, the word of the day from a month ago.
Yeah, no, that's right. It
Resisting the
definitely is.
water. So that's going to take a while, I think.
when we think about this season, so we've come through a summer. We've talked a lot about wildfires. There's been wildfire coverage of what folks have gone through. On the gardening end of it, we've hydrophobic has come up. The amount of watering at the Botanical Garden. So, any other thoughts just on what this season has meant and what you've kind of both taken from it?
For me, I think we're going to have to change fundamentally the way that we do things, like at the garden.
Okay, so that's really big.
That's pretty big. Yeah. But I mean, and from my perspective, I mean, Josh and I are both like the newest, for the hort crew. So, ideally.
Wait, is that what you're called, the hort crew?
Well, I just made that up.
I love that.
But that's what we are now. So like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what does this mean for the garden for the next 20 years? And like what we're doing now will not work for the next 20 years. So, and how do you plan for that, in a sustainable way and like keeping climate change in mind and keeping like everything else in mind? How do you start making those plans? So like we've had some really good talks about like what does irrigation look like? What are our options? And sort of trying to be prudent, because if we don't, then we're going to get left behind, I think.
Yeah, looking at, here, what we've experienced this summer, unlike others, right? Even though things have been obviously, trending and going certain directions, and each summer you've been learning around how things have been changing, especially the last few years around dryness and drought conditions and everything else. But then to look ahead and be like, okay, we know global warming is continuing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so these trends it's only going to get hotter.
Yeah.
And time to react. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Plan accordingly.
Yeah. So Josh, what about yourself for your summer and on your horticulturist, but on the tree end of things as well. So tell us a bit about it.
Like in regards to that stuff, like we purchased some drip irrigation anyway, and we kind of had planned to do some automatic irrigation because on the nursery side of the road, we're hooked up to town water.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different than across the road. But another big thing is the sun. So growing seedlings and growing cuttings. I've found even stuff that should be able to grow in full sun, I found we've had to cover it more with shade cloth and things like that to be mindful of with the kind of heat in the summers we're having now. Usually we have a lot more overcast days than we have had. So, and the trees and, especially young trees can be burned up pretty easily by that.
Me being the amateur, just kind of slowly but surely dipping my toes into gardening. When we were growing, just my wife and I, so perla leaves from seed, when we put them out back, around just after Father's Day, some of the full sun just like the little you little fellas didn't have a chance. Could have just burned right off.
No, you got to harden them off. Yeah, it takes you might have learned since then, but it takes a while. You got to put them out in that kind of sun. You have to put them out every day for only an hour at a time to allow them to develop what's called a waxy cuticle on their leaves. And it's just like a protection from the sun. So plants even in a greenhouse don't have that. So if you move plants from a greenhouse outside, you can still burn them that way.
Yeah.
Because the plastic at the greenhouse doesn't allow them to create that, because it's kind of like they never get the full sun's rays. It wouldn't be as bad as if it came from inside your house and went out. But yeah, something to be mindful of, hardening your plants up. It's way harder when the sun we had this year, there was almost no chance to do that. Like there was some weeks, or I guess, several weeks in a row where there was no chance, but I had to move plants out. So you either got to cover them or get creative, put them in the shade of a tree somewhere.
Use reman,
Yeah.
We ended up we grew a bunch, luckily. So after the initial some failures, put some extra thought in and around it, and Perilla leaves the whole
feasting.
it was for Korean barbecue and also some soups and stuff. We had this. It's called kamjatang, which is it's like a pork bone type soup with potato and other bits, and also you cut up these leaves on top, and it was really nice.
That sounds delightful.
2 days ago.
Nice.
So yeah.
Exciting.
All right, folks, it is gardening day. The lines are open. 709-722-7111, 1-800-563-8255. You can text us, 709-327-8206, the signal at cbc.ca. So this, folks, it can be from your grow updates. What was your season like? We're talking about our own experiences here on the show today for the grow season and what we've experienced. What have you experienced? Did you have successes this year? Were there failures? Were there things that, because of the summer that we had, that impacted you and what you've been growing? And, what's harvest like? Or if you've got questions of putting, your gardens to bed and also thinking about success. One of the things that I love about gardening season, even as things wind down, I'm like, oh, winter, you're still thinking about spring and planning ahead, which is... at the Botanical Garden, how does that look ahead go? Because students are gone, you're doing the wind down in a way of this peak busyness and everything. What's the look ahead like for planning at the Botanical Garden?
Well, it always happens because there's always certain tasks you want to do at certain times of year. So we think, okay, well, we didn't get that done, so we'll have to wait until spring now. Or, okay, well, we're going to prioritize, always making a work plan. And we just had our plant sale, and we still have lots of plants left. So it's exciting talking to other people about, planting, and there's still definitely time for that. And, there's lots of good sales out right now around town. So, it's an exciting time. But like you said, also thinking about, okay, well, when are we going to start putting things to bed? But we still got time. We still got time. Yeah.
Oh, look, my Swiss chard is still doing great.
Yeah.
So,
that's right. Definitely thinking about ordering seeds for next year already and stuff like that. And I even know one nursery online that ran out of tree seeds. And one nursery, a local one in Nova Scotia, that ran out by the time I wanted to get them in the late fall. So some smaller nurseries could be out of seed stock pretty quick if it's something specific you want. Yeah.
Here's we got a note, and when we on this subject, I consider this. There's a running conversation on bringing in knowledge and trying to build on it, and I will be getting there's it's a multi-perspective discussion. And I mentioned gardening next week. We're not having it, but the week after we are, and things are still all systems grow as usual, folks. It's just for scheduling next week. We're not going to have it on Tuesday, but the week after. So this note I got. It mentioned Conception Bay North, and someone's house was spared, but all the trees are gone. So what they were wondering was what to replant. And they heard deciduous trees are more fire resistant, but they're kind of asking for ways forward. And what's a way to start thinking about that? And I know it's a big question, and we don't have to have exact answers on it. But what would it be like for you folks? What would you where's your head for thinking about things around this and how you would proceed?
Yeah,
just proceed in your own area and in your own yard.
If you lost your trees due to wildfire, and you're like, well, want to replant. I want to kind of think about what to plant.
Totally.
How do you start to think about that?
I guess you look to the damage of the trees, because certain trees, like, they may look pretty burned at first. And I've seen a lot of forest fires, not a lot, but I've seen forest fires out west in Alberta and stuff like that. And just after a forest fire, it'll look pretty bleak. And shortly after, those same trees are all leafing out again. And, and I mean specifically spruce trees, like conifers. So I guess it depends on how bad the damage is on each tree, but if it's burned right to the ground in the area that we're talking about, the soil there is going to be more nutritious for plants. So whatever you plant there is going to do well, generally speaking. So yeah, it's, in a way, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, because you have full sun and better soil. So even though everything has been so horrific, you have basically the world is your oyster in terms of what you want to plant back. So generally we would recommend, like, if you want to go with trees, to go more for like a deciduous over like a conifer. And there's lots of deciduous shrubs that are really nice, and there's lots of tall perennials. But also, like, observation is such a powerful tool as well. And for me, I always tell people, like, if you don't know where to start, like, observe what your land is telling you, and you'll be able to see, what's coming back, what isn't, what is, where the soil might be, better to plant in versus, what was. Because your landmarks are all gone too, like, where was that big rock that I hit, or, where was that, underground spring that I forgot about, or whatever. So there's a bit of that too. So if it's overwhelming, observation is something that I always come back to, for sure.
Yeah, and it also seems to come down to, like, a lot of times for whatever the situation, gardening and there's planning and thought, right? It's like,
Totally.
okay, where are we? And sometimes it's nice. Oftentimes I find on the show, some of the suggestions will be as well to, you can take a step, start slow. It doesn't have to be all at once, and you can slowly figure things out too, which is part of it.
Yeah, and there's lots of supports out there. Like, we're obviously very happy to help with those sorts of things in terms of advice. You just email us at gardenquestions@mun.ca. But also there's what's called a Fire Smart program, which is a national program that give guidelines for landscaping in this new fire world. And some of that isn't the most relevant to Newfoundland, but there's a lot that's really helpful there. And they have a list of trees and shrubs, for example, that you can choose from, and we can help you then choose from that list, or local nurseries, or even just a little bit of time on our website. So there's you're not alone, and there's lots of people that want to, help through.
And I've got it open right now, Fire Smart Landscaping Guide. So if you search online, Fire Smart Canada, and put in landscaping, there's a PDF that will come up with a landscaping guide. And then you said as well, right, the Botanical Garden takes questions. And so there is on this march forward of learning, understanding, trying to figure out where to go through a horrific and damaging situation. Yeah. We can make these steps forward together. Yeah,
and hopefully have something positive come out of something that's been so horrible.
Yeah. There is standards, like you said, on the distance even between the house and the tree and what have you, like that.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phone lines, folks. Gardening Day here on The Signal, 709-722-7111, 1-800-563-8255. You can text us, 709-327-8206, The Signal at cbc.ca. Dan Rubin's on the line. Hello, sir.
Your guest today, I didn't catch that.
Pardon?
Who are your guests
today? It's Meghan McCarthy and Josh Elyk from the MUN Botanical Garden.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, you guys. Listen, I was listening in, and the question about the trees, I wanted to respond to that.
Sure.
So I parked now. I'm not driving anymore.
Good.
And what I wanted to say is that I live in Pooch Cove on a small lot, and one of the very best things I've ever done is plant fruit trees. I actually have 27 fruit trees and bushes. I got 80 pounds of cherries this year from 3 trees. And these are trees that I planted myself within the last 10 years. So if I had a burned off place where the charcoal, of course, is going to enrich the soil, as Meghan mentioned, what I would be looking at is contacting Murray's Garden Center or Johnny Appleseed, which is a local supplier of trees,
I think they're closed.
and looking for northern adapted fruit trees because they take, once they're established, very little maintenance, and they will produce literally hundreds of pounds of fruit. And that's true for apples and pears and plums and cherries and also peaches if you get the right variety. So it's an opportunity to create a food forest in your garden.
Yeah, that's a good
That's what I
point.
wanted
Yeah,
to
nut
add.
trees, anything like that. Yeah, I'm all for a food forest.
And we have a list on our website of fruiting trees and shrubs that are specifically good for Newfoundland, because if you go to like
right.
Home
Did
Hardware
Tom
and
work on
pick up
that?
a random one that has 8 grafts on it,
sure.
that's not. So I really recommend that list because that'll help, again, narrow it down to something that's really gonna, But also you want to watch the height on those, right? Because there's dwarf
Exactly.
and semi-dwarf and standard. So if you're picturing, getting a huge majestic apple tree and you buy one that's a dwarf, that's not going to get you the, it's going to get you apples, but but not the desired effect. But
That's right.
yeah.
No, those are great points.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The thing about the size of the trees is that's determined by the rootstock, and most commercially produced trees are grafted to a rootstock that determines tree size and also cold tolerance. And then the fruiting wood that's grafted onto the top produces the fruit. But just as she was saying, you want to tune that for your setting and make sure you're going to have a good spacing between the trees, because a larger tree will require more space as it branches out, and you don't want your trees too close and fighting with each other. Things to know.
Excellent. Anything else before I let you go today, sir?
I will say that there is a provincial election coming up, that we've been doing research on the needed changes to provincial policy to make it easier for people to grow their own food, and that if you go to foodproducersforum.com, you'll be able to find a link to that policy paper, and we need public support talking to candidates to get them to realize that the legislation is broken, but it's a really easy fix.
I was
That's what I'd
thinking
like
about
to
that.
share with the listeners.
I spoke to you about that one time before, and I was literally thinking about that yesterday. It's funny that you called
Wow,
and brought
neat.
that up.
And
Yeah, well, we need to spread the word about this because this is an opportunity. And I want to say that we've spoken to representatives, including the people running as the leads of their parties for all 3 parties. We've met with Jim Dinn. I've spoken to Tony Wakeham, and we have good connections with the Liberals as well. And everybody's on board. This is not going to be a hot potato for debate. It's something that all 3 parties can come together on. But as you know, you need the public pressure to bring that about. But we've actually identified the acts and the language that will be needed to clean house.
And as before I let you go, Dan, I'll say as well, just to let you know, because I know you're going to be at the NLE's Food Forward thing this weekend,
That's
right?
right.
For Friday
I'll be
and
there
Saturday.
as a speaker along with Allison Snow. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're doing a show on that on Thursday. We're calling some folks who are up along and out along and not here in the province. But if you're listening, you got time, and if something speaks to you for the subject of the conversation, obviously, give us a shout.
Are you saying that to me?
Yes, yeah. You-
Oh, God, I don't need much encouragement.
No, I know. I was like, why am I even doing this? I'm kidding.
great.
So Thursday, food
All the
security
best.
discussion.
All the best.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk to you. Bye. Dan Rubin there. Let me see. We got a couple texts here as well. Hi, Adam. Question. Wondering how to keep seeds fresh, like in the Norway vault. That's Don from Salmon Cove. How do you keep seeds fresh?
Just temperature and humidity, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure what the Norway vault temperature would be set at and humidity
I
exactly.
think it's there's 2 typical standards. Like at the garden, we have one that's -20 and we have one that's -80. And typically things like -20 is the rule. -80 is like real hardcore, that sort of thing. So most people, but -20 is, the standard.
So put in your deep freeze.
Well, that's for like the Norway well. Like otherwise, if you're just the average person,
Yeah.
like even keeping things. I don't know if you want to talk about that more, Josh.
Yeah, that's hit it perfectly. You want to keep the seeds perfectly dried out first, and then you get them into a bag, and then into that temperature exactly. Sometimes I'll double bag seeds if I'm keeping them for a long time. And if I have a lot of bags of seeds, I'll put them all in one giant bag to make sure, because the condensation can get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeds double bagged, and then are they actually in your freezer? Where do you put them?
I just have them in the fridge, but the freezer if I was doing long-term storage. But for us with the tree nursery, we're trying to start everything that year that we get them in. You know, like now we had some stuff in the fridge for the summer that'll be started this fall, but we won't keep seeds longer than that generally. Okay.
And it depends too. Like obviously, if you're collecting seeds, you need to make sure that they're what we call orthodox, so they like to be stored. And some things just don't like to. You shouldn't use them up. Like things like onions, I think, and carrots. Like you want to plant those right away, and then other things will last for several years. But typically, I don't want to have an open pack of seed for any more than like 2 years.
No, that's right. And you guys collect, we collect the seeds every 5 years from the north?
Oh, yeah, for the limestone barians, our ex situ conservation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philip is on the line. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Adam. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind gardening-wise or grow-wise?
Well, I feel like an imposter because I'm coming to the conclusion I have to think of myself not as a small farmer, but as a big gardener with 15 acres of strawberries and lots of other things. And if I start thinking as a gardener instead of a farmer, it's much more useful. So one of the things that I'm doing, and I'm thinking of fire as well, is I'm chipping up a lot of trees from my shelter belts, which should be 50% permeable, so that air can move through it, but not a howling gale. And I'm using them as a mulch on my strawberries. And I have found in the past that if I chip them up, like now, well, there's still green leaves on them. The leaves are going to contribute some nitrogen to the mix of chips, which are basically lignin, which
right.
nature has carefully tailored so it doesn't rot very well.
Yeah.
So by doing that, it should rot down. And then in the spring, I'll brush it off into the aisles. But the question I have is because if I look in the aisles a few months later, I'll find that those aisles are full of mycelia. And what I want to know is, are they connecting with the roots of my strawberry plants, which are in the bed alongside? And if they are, there's a good chance they could help feed the strawberry plants. But is there a specific type of fungi which does that, or
not all of them are going to be beneficial, and it's hard to say without knowing the exact species of fungus that's there. But if it's not hurting your strawberries, if you don't notice anything wrong with it, then it's at least not doing that, and it might be helping them. Yeah. And you can send it away for a test too.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And we love.
Where would I send it to?
The Department of Agriculture could help you with that if you called them and asked them. But there's also private labs that you can call and ask that just do like broad range fungal scans, I guess, on whatever you send in.
Yeah. And when if we're thinking about more like mycorrhizal fungi, those I typically think of like big forest systems, but also like when we talk about what's called like the soil food web, where you have, like insects and bacteria and fungi, they all work together. So if you're feeding that soil food web like that, you're going to have the happier soil. So whether it's the fungi or because the fungi is there, it's breaking down something and it's releasing something else. In general, I think you got a good idea there. Yeah. I love doing that. And then if you have your wood chip path and then you flick it back into your bed as mulch once it's broken down. That's a good one, Philip. Yeah. You're doing good. You're a big gardener for sure.
I'm trying to see that I don't have to have an unproductive year of crop rotation or bare soil to break down all that lignin. And so that's what I'm doing so far. And so far, I've tracked it for 4 years.
Amazing.
And and the aisles aren't really building up. So I'm thinking that they must be breaking down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also they're great for managing water in your landscape as well. We don't talk about that, but the whole sink spread, save and slow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those pots are
especially in
great
the
for
year
that.
of drought.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want lots of organic matter is going to put more moisture there. isn't
Yeah.
it?
So, I mean, Philip, you're with the Campbellton Berry Farm. How'd you find the year in Campbellton for someone who's growing strawberries? Like, how'd you find the year this summer for yourself?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a bit peaky, if you know what I mean. There wasn't a lot of slow time that the strawberries have to recover from winter before they're hit with high temperatures. So we have to manage that pretty carefully. Otherwise, we'll find all the berries will ripen at once, regardless of size. And what we want to do is to get the lead berries getting full size, get picked off, and then go after the second berries and the third berries, but give them time to fill out. And with these high temperatures and drought, we need to make sure they have a lot of water.
Right.
And fortunately, 40 years ago, we did extensive work to put in irrigation ponds and pumps and pipes and have drip irrigation. So that's really paying off in this kind of year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jealous.
Wow. Philip, anything else before I let you go?
No, that's good.
All right. Hey, thanks for the questions, the comments, and the chat and the update. It's much appreciated.
Oh, and there's one last thing, Philip. If you want to learn more about that soil food web, Dr. Elaine Ingram is an amazing resource. She's just on YouTube. And for all you soil nerds out there, it's amazing, learning about
Elaine, what was her name again?
Dr. Elaine Ingram. She does work on the soil food web because our soil is alive and we need to.
Yeah.
It's a whole ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm just looking at it now. Dr. Elaine, so ELAINE, Dr. Elaine's Soil Food Web School, according to YouTube.
Yes.
So we can all go to Soil Food Web School today.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, and then we can be friends.
Okay.
Thanks, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, folks, Dr. Elaine's Soil Food Web School. If you're interested in getting all the info on dirt.
Well, we don't like to call
web
it
can
dirt,
weave.
Adam.
I failed already.
No, you didn't. That's why you need to go to soil school.
Back to soil school for Adam. Jackie Feltham's on the line from St. John's. Hello.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jackie.
Okay, I have a question. I'm pretty good. My neighbor borders on my property, so we're always talking about the cherry tree. It's a Stella cherry that the previous owner bought probably, say, 6-7 years ago. The thing has grown into a monster. They can't put any covering over it, protect the berries from the birds because it's just too high. And I understand that fruit trees should be pruned down and in through the middle. Now, this one has 2 leaders on it, and I would say they're probably both at least 3 inches in diameter. Is there any way of either gently or harshly cutting it down so to be what a cherry tree should look like?
Yes. Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, so
okay.
So for fruit tree pruning, typically in the spring when we prune fruit trees, we are trying to encourage growth and shape. But if you want to slow down growth, we prune it in the summer. So that's, if it's super out of control, which that sounds like an amazing problem to have, then you can prune it in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah, it borders my property, and my soil is like 60 years of seaweed compost manure.
Right, so it has a good
some
life.
of that has probably migrated over. Actually, the first owner of the house was an avid gardener, too. He used to bring hen manure in from Upper Gully. So it's probably in good soil.
Yes, yeah, that sounds great. And with fruit trees, too, we're less worried about leaders because we do want to go for kind of like a low bowl shape to get the hormones flowing the right way.
Okay, so the 2 liters are okay?
Yeah, because especially
Okay.
for what we call like decurrent, I guess, trees where there's if it was a spruce or something, I would worry about 2 liters, but less
Yes.
so on a fruit tree.
Okay. So how should I know I'm going to be the one to do it, and I really don't mind because it does. His little girl loves cherries too. So
Yes,
if we can
yeah.
protect them from the birdies, it would be great.
Oh yeah, and I know that's a little tough with the Stellas where they're a bit bigger. You might have a bit more luck, but yeah, I mean netting, like you said, would be ideal. But I've heard of like putting CDs in the trees.
Oh yes,
The
right.
reflection, right? And with strawberries.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and with strawberries, actually, like painting rocks and having them in the beds works. So I wonder if you could fandangle something like that, because that actually really works with strawberries. And I've been meaning to experiment with something like cherries. If you had some, put them out before they fruit, and then the birds think they go to eat it, and they hurt their little beaks for 2 seconds.
The
And then
starlings are the culprits.
Yeah.
The odd songbird might have a cherry, but they don't destroy the fruit crop.
oh, okay, perfect. That's good.
Actually, what I was going to suggest was small enough. Just go to Salvation Army and buy a sheer curtain and wrap around it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could do that too, for sure.
Yeah, there's no need of buying the remake cover for a couple of weeks if that'll work.
Yeah. And the Royal Horticultural Society has some great resources on pruning fruit trees.
Okay.
If you want a free resource.
I will go there. I have looked at their resources before. So is it too late to do some at the start of the fall, or should we wait till next summer?
You probably could do a little bit now, but I never really recommend pruning in the fall because the wood doesn't have a chance to harden off any new growth that's going to come out.
Your point, yes.
So
right.
if you're going to do anything, you could do it now, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay, so we should wait until the tree is flowered or before it flowers?
For pruning?
Yeah, if you want to limit the growth, then yes,
Yes.
summer. So you could probably do a bit now if
Okay.
you're doing, limiting growth. But I probably wouldn't push it anymore for the next.
You're waiting until after it's dormant. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. And when should we start it in the summer?
Well, in the early spring, normally I like to prune fruit trees before the leaves come out, like when they're still dormant. So you
But you
could
were
do a
saying
double
that would
prune.
encourage growth.
Yeah, but still, it's good to do.
Yeah, like that's generally
Okay.
when it's done. Like you're going to do it when it's dormant. And then she was just saying, like in the summertime, like if you've got an out of control tree, you can kind of whack it back then. But generally, you'd wait till after the fall. Now the leaves have all dropped and it's gone dormant. And then early spring is typically done. Some people will go over winter, doing a bit of work on their trees. But you can go again then, in the summer, see anything that grew out and flushed out that you don't like, you kind of come back in the late spring, I guess, then and prune again.
Yeah, nice.
You're always pruning really, but your
Yes.
main hack job is done in the is done in the dormant season.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main hack job would be dormant season, so that would be after the leaves drop.
Yes, yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, you got it.
Okay, I don't want to turn your words into the way I interpret it. So, so basically dormant season. So, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
When they're not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. When you're
Right.
anxious to get out in the garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So just to recap, I mean, you could do
Well,
some
it gives you
pruning.
something to do in the garden when you can't do much else. So.
Well, exactly, right? So, and to recap, you could do some pruning now, which, like what Megan's
Okay.
saying, but then the big prune, like, dormant season, spring, you do your prune then when it's still dormant. And then summertime, next summer, when you take like late spring, early summer, if you're looking at it and you're like, what, this thing is still unwieldy, you can do a big hack on it then as well. So we're all,
Yeah, well,
okay.
we sort of work it down anyway.
Yeah.
Just generally avoid really wet days too, they say, for
Thank
fungal
you. Makes
diseases.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean your pruners,
Oh,
stuff like that.
Okay. Okay, very good. Just as a total I'm just writing down avoid wet days here. I'm making notes as you talk.
Yeah,
One other
and,
quick,
you know-
cheap gardening hack I came up with is I got a couple trees I don't want to be whippersnipped near the trunk, and I don't do the whippersnipping. So I went to dollar store and got a pool noodle and cut a slit up through it, and I've wrapped that around the base of the trunks.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
At garden centers, you can buy really expensive wraps than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And they're probably a little more discreet.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, that certainly does the job. And, of course, it's bright enough to point out where the area to avoid is to the person whippersnipping.
Yeah, might keep the rabbits and stuff away from girdling, too.
Oh,
I don't
oh,
know.
okay.
They'd chew through it, but I don't know if they would want to go through all that.
I'd worry a little bit about like moisture being kept on the bark
Yeah,
and
that's
that
a
sort
good
of thing. I
point.
think tree
Good
circles
point.
are always the best, and
Okay.
they look so neat and tidy.
Yeah, be wary of it. Yeah, it's a cool experiment, but
Yeah,
still be
as
careful.
someone who used to whippersnipper a lot, yeah.
A good point. But if basically I would only have it there. Well, that'll remind me. Just keep it there during whippersnipper season.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
that's a good point.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call as
welcome.
always. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.
All right, Yuvadi's on the line from Glovertown. Hello. Hi, Yuvadi. There you are.
Just want to say the good news. Last week I checked my zucchini.
Yeah.
So they're going okay. But this week is amazing, the double size. And the secret, I put cod head and, the stomach with the neighbor throw away. So I use it, collect and put in my zucchini bed. And amazing how they go. And my rhubarb, I have an old bathtub, and then I put all the cod head and cod stomach, and then put soy, and then I go rhubarb in the tub. Now I get a second cup for the rhubarb and make dessert yesterday.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, but my question today is, I try to arrange my garden, and I transplant my raspberry bed. So my question is, I have two types. The one have no thorn, the neighbor, the friend gave us, and another one I have like an English raspberry. It's a big one, but a little bit thorn. But I try to rearrange my garden now. What the best to do? Should I already dig the whole thing and remove it, or I just want to take only the new shoot and remove? What the best way I should do?
So you just are you talking about like you want to thin your raspberries out, or do you want to transplant them?
I
somewhere
want
else?
to transplant because when I had on the old bed, like it's choking with the gout weed and everything, like and too cloudy.
Yeah.
So I don't have much raspberry like I used to be. So now I try to arrange, like get them more air, and I want to transplant, get it good, But what could you recommend? What should I do?
Like anything you move that was near gout weed, of course, you got to be super careful of, spreading around.
Those roots, yeah.
Right, but wash the roots and be very careful. And pretty much you're going to pull the plant up, the cane, raspberry cane they call them, and then the roots, and it'll just be like the spiky bit of the stem, and wash all that off. And you can separate those out and plant them into a new row somewhere. I just wouldn't put it anywhere that was really precious that you're afraid of with the gout weed.
Yeah.
But that's interesting that the raspberries should be able to kind of choke back against the gout weed a little bit, hey?
Yeah. And also with raspberries too, the first year they send up a cane that is it won't have any fruit, and then the next year that cane will fruit. So anything that fruited this year, you don't have to move that over. That you can just cut that to the ground, and you'll have lots of new canes for next year. So it's possible that you might not get fruit next year if those little baby canes, when you're moving them, might get damaged. Mm-hmm. But if you're patient and you just wait a little while, then they should be okay. But that's another thing too, when sometimes raspberry patches get so crowded because all those old canes that that fruited that aren't going to fruit anymore are taking up space. So typically, like after, like I'll go through a raspberry patch and cut down anything that fruited, and so you have lots of airflow and you're not just swimming in sticks. Spiny sticks.
Yeah, I saved some, the original, and I all just, for the next year, I won't touch them. And then I also moved some another location.
Nice, smart.
Yeah, I hope next year I will update what will be. Thank you.
Love it.
Thanks,
I love
Shivati.
hearing about it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
There you go.
It's codheads.
And codheads and fish guts, I tell you.
And the rhubarb, they love that really rich stuff, so they were eating it up. Yeah, smart cookie.
A great way to, get your stuff to go gangbusters. Let me see. What other questions do we have here? Getting back to the strawberry discussion, we had a text come in. Can you please ask your guests to talk about strawberries? Mine were very successful this year, and now I have dozens of runners. I've cut some, trying to root them with about a 50% success rate. Any tips? ? Also, should I cut back the leaves on my plants or let them die? And last question, what about fertilizer? So 1, 2, 3.
Oh, give her biggies.
Yeah.
I can go for the propagation part anyways.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're having 50% success rate, the most important thing with any cuttings is temperature and humidity and the sunlight. So I'm not sure exactly where you're doing your cuttings, if you're just doing them outdoors and sticking them in the ground, which would work and probably give you, I would imagine, less than 50%. So it's pretty good if you're doing them just that way with the sun we've been having and stuff. But basically, you want to just have that small piece of the runner that has the baby on it and no more of that stolen hanging off because it's just going to rot. And make sure that it's developed enough that it has a few little roots on it already, that it has a good chance to survive. And then you're not really having to do a cutting at that point and do any wounding or add any root hormone or something. That's basically you're just dividing plants. So that'll get your success up.
And it is good to do because a mother plant of strawberry won't last any more than 2 or 3 years. So you kind of always have to be, watching the babies and rearranging where they are. So for the rest of it, I guess, for like fertilizer and that sort of thing, I always love to use typically kelp or fish or that sort of organic food fertilizer on anything that I'm eating. Not that the other stuff will kill you or anything, but so stuff like that. And then normally if I'm going to harvest, I'll just lay off for, the little bit before harvest so you're not having fishy strawberries,
That's right.
which might be a delicacy somewhere. I don't know. And I don't remember what the other...
Yes, and the other bit was, should I cut back the leaves on my plants or let them die?
Oh, I just leave it.
Yeah.
But it's important in the spring too, they very much have a crown. So you have to just be careful, in the spring when they're coming back, where you're cutting or because you don't want to damage that crown because that's going to be... set the plant back.
They're easy to haul out of the ground. Like if you're trying to rip off a few dead leaves with your hands or something, you can pull the whole plant out when it's dormant and the soil's loose or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Norma sent a note in. Hi, should I trim the flowers off my boomerang hydrangea now? When should I trim my 9 bark?
Ooh, I love those. So typically for something like lilac or any flowering shrub, you can do it after it flowers, especially those early ones like lilac. And you just prune back to nice juicy. They're opposite. So if you can find a nice, double bud that are both of them are strong, you can do it. But I kind of do that anytime because it doesn't really hurt that plant because it's so woody and it doesn't put on a ton of growth after that. But for your 9 bark, I don't know. They flower later than everything else. I typically like to do those still in the spring because you can see the canes and you're typically thinning out canes. You really don't want to do what's called heading back cut. So if you picture what you do with a hedge trimmer, you really want to do thinning cuts. So more at the base or right back to sort of the main stem because it can look pretty weird if you're heading back a lot.
Yeah, because hydrangea, I guess, is like, a lot different than cutting nine barks. Nine barks like a shrub tree versus
Very
more
cane-like.
herbaceous. Yeah. So you're going to be doing that in your dormant season again. You know, as opposed to hydrangea, people are kind of cutting them all the time. They grow a lot more vigorous. Yeah.
Oh, and there's some bonkers, great-looking hydrangea around town when you're driving around.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So many different kinds, too. Yeah.
Yeah, we drive it when I
it.
come into work. We go along Rennie's River, and there's some of the homes there, like some of the hydrangea are spectacular.
Yeah, really good year for them. And also people, they're kind of funny ones to prune sometimes because there's so many different kinds that are slightly different. But this year, they weren't feeling no pain, were they? It's gorgeous.
No. Nice for cut flowers, too.
Yeah.
People are cutting them this time of year for cut flower, dried cut flower arrangements.
Yeah. Which we're getting into at the garden, too.
Oh, yeah. And Jacqueline is on the line. Hello.
Hello, Adam. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I tell you, I feel like an old woman. I've been berry picking for 4 days.
Have you been berry picking since I talked to you last week? Because this is...
I know. It's been fabulous. Blueberries are just fabulous.
So
And you get
how many
in the
gallons do you
zone.
got? How many gallons? Like, I'm picturing a house stuffed with blueberries, Jacqueline.
I tell you, the freezer is groaning. It's just groaning. It's like screaming for mercy.
Blueberry lemon loaf coming down the pipe. I love it.
It's better than therapy. Like, you go in there with all your problems and your worries and your cares, and the next thing it's just you and the blueberry patch. And yeah. But anyway, I digress. I have been trying for years. Please, dear gardeners, have you ever heard of, and do you know where I might find, variety of potatoes? There's two. I'm looking for Golden Wonders and Imperials. And I've checked lots and lots and lots of websites, and I wondered if you guys might know of a potato website or something.
No, but I know that just through doing some courses, the Department of Agriculture knows. What course was I doing? It must have been a pesticide course I was updating. And someone was riddling off the names of potatoes. And there's those guys and some of the people that were in those courses definitely can point you in the right direction. Meghan.
I mean, I wish I knew more potato websites.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're ever at the farmer's market, because I find those folks are such a wealth of information, and sometimes it is by word of mouth, especially it seems like with potatoes, and people go nuts for the biggest blues and that sort of thing. I would ask people at the farmer's market, because they are lovely and so open with their information and so kind. And there's also the Young Agrarians, is it? A few other organizations like that, and they have like meetups and that sort of thing. So I don't know if they would, have their ears to the ground.
Because I know there's only certain, they only allow certain potatoes in too,
yes,
to be
because
grown.
of potato scab. Yeah.
Well, see, this is it. These are a couple of varieties I ate and liked when I lived in the UK, and they're very popular varieties over there.
Oh, yeah.
The Golden Wonder is used a lot for making French fries and potato chips and things like that.
Yeah.
And another one, was the Kennebuck, I think it was.
Yeah. Yes. I think we've grown that
one.
one.
It's amazing how many different kinds when you start looking into it.
This
Well,
is
hundreds.
Yeah.
But we just eat like a handful of varieties.
Yeah, because also where pests and disease are different. Lots of different places. So there are going to be ones, we really need ones that are scab resistant. And in the UK, I feel like that's less of a problem. So there's always going to be a bit of that variety. But also, if you look into Golden Wonder and Imperial, most of the time they'll say like potato, okay, they like thin skin, thick skin, yellow, whatever color. If you can get the classification of what type of potatoes those are, then you might be able to find one locally that will grow well that essentially does the same thing without the same name.
That's right.
Okey-doke. Find out what the classification of those are, and then try to find something that's nearly related.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and I just wanted to say my plum tree has had a bumper year. You can literally shake it, hold a bucket under it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
falling
jealous.
down.
Yeah.
Little golden boys, or what golden
those are
ones?
great.
Yeah, golden boys, little
love
tiny
those.
little golden plums.
Oh.
And I'm going to leave you with a pun.
Okay.
I dig gardeners.
That's good. That's great. Yeah.
Well, you're really growing on me, Jacqueline. I like that.
Oh, too funny. Anyway, it's been nice talking to you, and
Thanks.
that's some good info. I'll take that and run with it.
There you go.
Awesome.
Good luck with it now.
it.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Jacqueline, up to her ears in blueberries and then being covered in plums. So,
Yeah, it's good for the soul, I think.
there you go.
I love those yellow plums because they're so cheerful, too. They just make you happy.
They're really nice.
Yeah.
A few minutes left here on Gardening Day. We've had a bunch of calls. I've got a couple texts I have not gotten to yet, so let me see. Adam, I have an opportunity to get some cherry seedlings from 1 to 3 years old. Is it too late in the season to dig these up and either transplant them or keep them in pots until the spring?
I'm curious about seedling because most of the time cherries are grafted like any other fruit tree. So if they're getting like a cherry seedling that was growing on someone's property, it was probably like pin or choke cherry, which would be the native cherries, and they wouldn't be big producers. But most things now, I would still want to get it in the ground.
I would get it in the ground, yeah. Like you could technically keep it even if you keep it in a pot. Keeping it above ground outside is dangerous because it'll be like the harsh winter. It'll freeze and thaw. You'd almost have to keep it in a pot in a shed, frozen somewhere out of the sun and stuff like that. So it's just better in the ground. It'll root now into the cold weather up until the ground freezes. The cold weather tells plants to root, so it's actually a perfect time now coming up soon to do that. When the plant is dormant, even when the leaves drop off it in the pot, you can still put it in the ground that time. Put a stick there so you know where it is, and then yeah.
Here's another one. Let me see. I'm wondering if you have any information about small pale green, pale yellow insects, like a short worm, floating in the air on a thread. It appears to like my clotheslines as they attach themselves and hang from a single thread. We've checked all our trees and bushes and cannot find any source of this particular bug, and they don't appear to hang out anywhere else.
Yeah, we have those at the garden too, and they love to get into my hair, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, but they could be span worms.
Well, that's what we were thinking. Over here, span worms.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So they're not they just come in like a cycle. They're not super harmful that you need to spray or anything like that.
No, for most tree insects like that, you don't really, just kind of accept them and sort of flail before you're having to walk through them. But I've seen a lot on like golden chain trees, especially.
Yeah, they kind of like just slow. They're just there.
Yeah.
And a little thread hanging about, and they're kind of
Yeah.
Because deciduous trees, like they're gonna drop their leaves now soon, anyways, and they're not doing anything much more with them now. That if you sprayed a bunch of chemicals on them, you probably just burn the leaves anyways if it's full sun, and if not, you're not really saving the tree anything. You're just costing yourself money.
Yeah.
At that point.
too bad they're confused on the clothesline, though. It's like
yeah,
it's not where you should be, but-
they're a bit yucky. I used to
Knock 'em off
bike and
there.
I would get a face full of them. And,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And stickworms and all those other ones.
Yeah, there's a few that all kind of do the same thing.
So the season is changing. Nothing can be done.
Pretty much, nature is nature.
You know,
Yeah.
brush them off with a broom. And stuff like that.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Okay.
Yeah.
In the last minute, so give us, I don't know, what are you looking at now for your week or the time ahead or something at the Botanical Garden?
Yeah, there's lots on the go. We're still doing kayaking, which is awesome. Wednesday to Sunday when weather permits. And then this Saturday is Pippi Park Day. So all of us up in Pippi Park are getting together. There's free admission at the garden, and there's lots of other events with our partners, open houses, tours, and that sort of thing. There's lots of info on Facebook on that. Which is really exciting. It's nice to get the crew together, and there's lots of awesome folks up on the hill. So we're
Excellent.
very excited for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out over the lunch hour as always.
Thanks
Much
for having
appreciated.
us. So fun.
All right, everyone. That is it for the show today. If you got thoughts for us or questions, or if there's like other things that you want in the pipe for, the next gardening show, not next week, but the week after, The Signal at cbc.ca. You can always call the Signal line and leave a message, 709-576-5260. Looking at tomorrow, we are heading to the Southern Avalon so we can spend the lunch hour with the folks at St. Catherine's Academy. We wanted to do a back-to-school show, and everyone's really busy in the first week, so we said, hey, let's go to the second week. And this is a K-12 school. It's got about 50 students. We're going to chat with students, teachers, faculty, talk about the start of the school year, a look ahead of the school year, maybe even a bit about how summer break was. All of it together tomorrow on The Signal, live from St. Catherine's Academy. Don't miss the show. And until then, have a great day, folks. Bye.